Whistle Thicket Tom here. It is about to be planting season. I've already planted a few things. I got my fruit trees in the ground, my blueberry bushes. I planted some snap peas. But what is one of the biggest problems with gardening, with homesteading, at least in my opinion, is keeping track of all of your seeds, especially when to harvest. So let's look at the back of some of these packages. Lettuce says harvest 65 to 70 days. Spinach says 30 to 40 days to harvest. Kale says 55 days to harvest. Let's look at birdhouse gourds. 110 to 130 days to harvest. My point is, if you have a decent sized garden, you have a lot of things to keep track of. So what should you do? So most people that homestead not only have a garden, but you probably have animals. You probably have chickens, you might have bees, you might have goats, you might have cows, horses, ducks. There's so many things you could be doing with homesteading. You may be making goods to sell, you may be having products you're selling at home. The point is, homesteading is a lot of work. It's fun, but in my opinion, it's important to stay organized. So I actually, a few months ago, I was trying to become organized for myself, and I actually made a homestead planner. It's called A Year on the Homestead. So I just want to share this journal with everybody. It's available on Amazon for $8.50. I'm not going to make it more expensive. I mean, that's the price for like a fast food meal these days, right? So for $8.50, you can get organized on your homestead. I just want to show everybody what I've done, and maybe you'll be interested. So I have it organized. First, at the start, you make a map of your homestead like I did. This is not our whole homestead. It just kind of ends at the back pasture and then it turns into woods. But in my opinion, it's really important to map out your homestead every year to see the changes you've made, and it's going to help you dream and think bigger. So for instance, we've lived here for about 4 years. We've done a lot in 4 years. We've fenced the front pasture. We've made a goat pasture, a riding ring for the horses, this greenhouse I'm sitting in, a garden area, a man shed, a hay shed. We've done a lot. But every year our homestead changes, and we have less and less space to work with, so I have to really think about where I'm going to put stuff. But making a map is really important because I can look at areas that aren't being used. Like for instance, since I've made this map, I've planted trees in a small section of hill and grass that's in between the riding ring and my front pasture. So making a map really helps with your homestead goals. Then I have an area to map out your garden. Again, I only have a little bit of my garden going right now. This whole area is blank right now because I haven't planted anything there yet. So making a garden plan every year is very helpful to stay on track and to keep going. So I have all of my perennials in a smaller fenced-in garden, and here are going to be all of my summer crops. But for me, if I can draw a map, I can envision where I want to go. Then I have several pages for projects. If you want to do construction, if you're trying to build something, you have the room to do it, to make your blueprints. Now let's get to, seed, supplies, and such. You can keep track of everything you buy every month. There's several pages of that, and then I get to the monthly journal, which is the meat of this whole journal. So this is actually a 2-year planner. You can start this any month. You don't have to start in January. For instance, I actually just started using this in March a couple weeks ago. So this is how I'm staying organized. So for homestead plantings, I put the crop, the transplant date or the sowing date, the time to harvest. So here I said 70 days. Then I flipped to May. Since it's March, I planted snap peas at the very beginning of March. And then I flipped to May, and now I have a note in the month of May that says it's time to harvest snap peas. So I'm able to stay on track. I'm going to be planting probably 50 different plants. So that's really important. My fruit trees, my fig trees, I have the date that I planted them here. But the start of every month, I'm making a homestead goal or several goals. So my goals for March were fix greenhouse, did it. Plant fruit trees, did it. Get bee supplies, almost done. And work on my perennial garden. That's what I've been working on. But making goals every month is really helping me stay motivated. Then I have a section for homestead animals. I just neutered a goat. I need to know when I neutered a goat. That's important. Then I have a section for eggs. You can keep track of how many eggs you get. For your beehive inspection. Milk. We don't harvest milk or meat, really. But there's a section here for people that do. Then I have nature notes. I like nature on the homestead. So if I see something cool, I'm going to write it down so I can remember it. We saw 5 deer at the front of our property a few days ago. I thought that was kind of cool. I wrote it down in my homestead journal. I have more sections for construction projects, for weather. We had a couple snowstorms in March. We had a 6-inch storm a couple days ago. It might even snow in 2 or 3 days. I like to keep track of the weather. That's easy to do. You just go to the weather channel at the end of the month for your area. Just get, a quick overview. It's going to tell you the highs and the lows. Then I have a place where you can do a monthly reflection. If there's an idea you want to do or something you don't want to forget, or maybe you made a mistake. I made a big mistake with my greenhouse and it blew away. I'm going to remember that and write it in my journal. I have quails. I got a great quail coop for an awesome deal, but it has chicken wire. I hate chicken wire. Predators love it. I hate it. I need to remind myself, hey, I better fix my quail coop or a black rat snake is going to eat my eggs and maybe eat my quails. So every month you only have to do 2 pages of journaling and it keeps you on track. At the end of the year, there's another section where you just go over your entire year. It's another 2 pages and you can just see how far you've come and where you're going next. Again, this is 2 years worth of journaling for your homestead. There's also, at the end of each year, you have an opportunity to make another homestead map. How has your homestead changed in 1 year? You can do a lot in a year, trust me. I'm very surprised at just thinking at how far we've come in 4 years on this property. There's also an area for general notes. You do what you want with that. There's other things in this journal. I just wanted to share everybody my homestead planner. It's called A Year on the Homestead. There's even a picture of me, look. Whoa. But the important thing is, yes, I do make a couple bucks off this. Not that much, actually. Amazon has to make the book. This is a self-published book. Then Amazon gets some money, then I get some money, but I really don't get any money because I'm making it so affordable. $8.50. Super affordable. I'm using this journal. If you have any questions about it, just leave me a comment. And the cool thing is, if you think something needs to be added to this journal, you can let me know. If enough people agree, I can change this organizer and I can make it better. So again, this is a great way to keep track of your seeds. I know it's going to help me. Last year I planted so many different varieties, which I think a lot of homesteaders do that. If you're a farmer, you may not be doing this. You may be planting 1 or 2 crops. But me as a homesteader, I want to plant as many different crops as I can for fun, to experiment, and to feed my family, to feed my animals. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying our channel. If this is your first time here, subscribe. we are getting closer to 1,500 subscribers. Not super close. We're at like 1,200 right now. But we're getting a little bit closer to 1,500. And that's a big goal for us. So thanks for joining us, everybody. And keep on homesteading.